area. And
what I saw yesterday looked promising.
Yeah, I agree. We had a sample of this design sent in yesterday, and it was close to everything I hoped for. I think it'll continue to get better.
But this is why we don't usually talk about this stuff openly, is because as soon as you say anything about anything, people get their hopes up and they think it's going to be available tomorrow. When they don't realize
later this year.
So much like back and forth R&D. This is 98% there, but the 2% that's not there means we can't release this. We got to tweak this thing. All that stuff has to happen before it ever comes out. And by that point, when we finally get done with it, then we can talk about it. Then hopefully it shows up. But of course, supply chain stuff also means you got to be careful when you announce something because you don't want all the demand to fizzle out before it actually has a chance to reach people either.
Very true. Okay, let's go ahead and jump into some weekends. I know we're missing Levi's main portion, but I have some other stories.
He'll be able to fill us in on Q&A Thursday, I think. Probably, right?
Yeah, probably. But I have some other stories I think you guys will enjoy along the way. Yeah. But Dane, this weekend. Starting on Friday, right? What do you end up doing? What would your weekend look like?
My weekend was mostly me emptying my storage unit that I've been paying $300 a month for. That I'm tired of paying $300 a month for.
Yeah, I'd be tired of paying $300 a month too for storage.
It's like a little car payment.
So, how much stuff would you say you actually have in there?
It was a 25 by 20, and it was mostly full.
Of what?
That's the hard part. When I look at
your house, when you moved, your house was full of boxes. Full of boxes. Do you have more stuff than that?
Lots of things from the garage and stuff. Basically, it's not just that my parents like shoehorned stuff over from their house and gave it to me. Like, here's your childhood stuff. Figure out what to do with it.
They do that.
There was some of that.
They do that sometimes.
Yeah,
like they give you couches that sit in garages for.
Well, no, this wasn't like furniture though. This was like boxes of like, here's a macaroni noodle poster you made when you were 5, kind of stuff like that, where you're like, that's sentimental and sweet, but I don't know where I'm going to put this.
That's when you look in Carolyn's eyes and you say, Mom, you don't want this anymore?
Oh, you turned it around on
You turn around on
and you're like,
she'll say, oh, no, I'll keep it.
It's not good enough for you.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I made that just for you.
Yeah, so it's definitely one of those things where, everybody goes through this, right? I mean, whether it's in a storage unit or it's in your own home, maybe you have a crawl space or an attic or a basement, somewhere, you keep those things where it's not necessarily just pack rat mentality. It's stuff that you feel like you have to keep because there's some part of you that goes, maybe my kids or my kids' kids or a nephew or niece might actually care about this one day. Chances are they won't, but you never know. Just something, to be able to keep and say, remember the good times, the olden times.
I know. And then there is the fear that you get rid of it and you're going to regret getting rid of it.
Because you can once you get rid of it, that's it. It's done. It's gone forever. Yeah. And that's a piece of history that you just, goodbye. But at the same time, I also have experienced the clarity that comes with taking some of those things that you look at and you go, yes, this is important, or at least it was important to me at one time. Mm-hmm. And now I feel like I can finally let it go. And you take it, you throw it away. Maybe you take a picture with it or something, just to like have a little something to remember it by. And then you let it go. There's a freedom there. Like just being able to let go and like, less stuff. This is good. Because I'll be honest, clearing out that storage unit for the last few days, I'm trying to get it right before the end of the month here before they charge me again. So getting this thing cleared out, I'm looking at this going, why am I even saving half this stuff in here? It's just random things, like stuff where if you were to try and donate it, they kind of look and go, yeah, I guess, but we don't really need this. And then it's that tough spot where you're like, I should just throw this away. But I feel bad throwing stuff away.
Have you considered packing it up and sending it to maybe a super fan, such as maybe G. Davis, right?
A super fan is not going to want my carpet runner that has dog hair in it.
You don't know that, Dane, right? G. Davis might get that macaroni poster and say, God bless you. This is everything I hoped it would be. This is everything that his kids didn't make for him.
Like I found a bridge I made for a physics class to basically demonstrate like different kinds of structural rigidity and stuff. And it was interesting, but different construction techniques and different designs.
That's when your
I was into that.
That's when your architecture brain kicked in. So
that thing has survived being crushed in a lot of boxes. So all I'm saying is I deserved an A on that.
Yeah, maybe so, right? Gabe, as a teacher, would have probably given you a B-.
Well,
because that's what he
he's
gives
always
everybody.
Expecting more, right?
He's always expecting more. I heard he's a tough grader, right? Glenn still despises some of his grades, and that's why Tim quit, because Tim still held that against him.
Wow,
but
some people just remain a student forever.
With that said, though, so you've gotten rid of some stuff. You're planning on keeping others. You're going to have that storage unit cleared out, hopefully. Now, have you found any treasures, any unique, odd things? Right? Maybe you found an extra backrest for your massage chair, right?
Oh, no.
Maybe you found something else. Maybe some beads, right? That maybe are comfort beads, right? Maybe that you like to sit on, right? Not in a weird way. I mean, unless you wanted to make it that way, but
it's macrame.
Have you found anything interesting?
I found an old set of a complete set, supposedly, of every generation of Corvette in a model set. And I brought it in and I put it on Seabass's desk because it was something I got as a kid and I never built it. The newest model in that kit is from 1995.
Oh.
So it's got from
C5?
the C1 up through the C4.
Oh, C4. Yeah. Oh, wow.
So that's what you get.
Dang.
There's no C5 in that
C4
kit.
is not pretty, man. Yeah. But
I mean, done right, they have the potential.
No C4.
I like when you open the hood and you can see the top of the tires. But anyway,
okay,
it's a cool little clamshell.
So you found that you gave that to Sebastian.
Yeah, I gave it to Sebastian. I don't know if he actually wants it, but I just thought, you're the guy who likes the car models and stuff, so I thought I'd at least try. I mean, it's a little dusty, but everything is there. But no, other than that, I found old sticker sets and a random tire iron and a lot of, for some reason I had multiple vacuum blowers for leaves and stuff. I had 3 of those. I don't know why I had 3 of those.
What?
But I did. I had 3 of them. And I had 2 hedge trimmers.
But
don't know why I had 2.
How do you not see that? How did you move it into the unit and not say, I have 3 or 2 of these?
Let's just say I'm really good at doing things without critically thinking about it until later.
But why do you have all these yard maintenance things?
It's just doing extra work to do extra work. There's no reason.
There's no
Those
reason
things should be there.
Why you have all these yard maintenance things.
And they're not even in bad shape. They're in decent to good shape. Somebody might actually want
Are they all electric? Yes.
Most of the ones I have are electric. One is corded, one is a battery.
Okay.
Yeah. So I don't have any gasoline tools in there because other than the lawnmower. But the lawnmower's in perfectly good shape too. It was just a basic Toro, but it was a nice one. Except I'm not using it because, long guy. But so I've got some things to sort out.
So you're going to sell some stuff. How much money do you think you'll make? Have you considered doing one of those storage unit sales where you just leave everything in and sell it for a decent amount and say, hey, you sort through my crap?
So as far as I understand it, the way those Storage Wars shows work is basically people abandon their storage unit. I mean, I realize it's all very orchestrated. It's very produced. But if somebody has a bunch of stuff in a storage unit and they just stop paying, and then eventually the storage unit owner gives an ultimatum and the people don't show up to claim their stuff, then it eventually gets turned over. It's the property of the storage unit place, and then they auction it off and they make a few bucks, and then whoever gets it gets whatever's inside.
Yeah.
That's how that's supposed to work as far as I understand it. If somebody were to dig through my stuff, it would look really impressive. Oh my God, there's so much stuff in here. Mm-hmm. But all in all, a lot of it, probably not anything.
Just a bunch of macaroni
amazing.
Posters.
I did have my original trumpet from high school, which is probably a
still full of spit
piece. Well, no, actually, I cleaned it regularly.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, it's a silver trumpet. It's probably actually worth a decent amount, but at the same time, people
I would like to see you bring that trumpet in here and blow it for everybody.
I don't have the proper embouchure anymore.
Are you sure you can't squeeze something out of you there? Pucker those lips
garbage.
Up, right? Did you know that I played trumpet when I was also?
Man, you too? I thought you were a drummer.
No, I played in elementary school. I wanted to be different, so I think it was in 4th grade when we could start playing brass instruments, and so I started playing trumpet. God, I sucked at it, man. I was so bad. I could barely even get through a song. I got
pretty good at it. I was actually in jazz band, so I was able to play.
Do you know what was the most disgusting thing for me? The blowing out of the spit.
Yeah, clearing the spit valve.
So I that was when I started realizing I was a kind of a clean kind of person, like hygienically. I did not like things like that. And so when we were sitting in class and everybody just starts blowing out their
it's just like collectively they're like, all right, here we go.
Yeah. And it was the trumpet kids, pretty gross, right?
Yeah.
The saxophone was the worst, man. Like there was like
let me tell you.
There was like a damn PVC valve that he turned on that thing and it just started pooling out of it.
It literally, it's just like changing your oil, except at the bottom, it's not oil coming out. It's literally just your own saliva.
And we would do it on this. So we were in one of those.
Have we ruined this podcast for people yet? Were they expecting us to talk about detailing? This is what happens when you just get Anthony.
You know those like mobile trailers, right? You know those mobile like classroom trailers? It was one of those with carpet, right?
Yeah. And the carpets were disgusting in those rooms.
You'd walk in there and you'd smell it and you go, oh my, it smells like a bunch of spit and like kids.
That is why the band room at the places I went to were always tile, because they mopped those things, because carpet would just be gross,
absolutely sick. Anyways, I didn't mean to take, but that's when
that is a very real.
It was funny because then I was in 5th grade, right? And then now percussion was unlocked, right?
Yeah.
I didn't know what that meant at 5th grade. I didn't really care.
Skill unlocked.
Percussion. And I saw this girl. Her name was Kelly, right? She was awesome, and I saw she was in the band room with me. I'm like, oh, hey Kelly, what's going on? Like, what are you doing here? She's like, oh, I'm playing the drums. And I said, wait, that was an option? I could play the drums? She's like, yeah, but they only needed one drummer, so sorry. I guess you'll have to continue playing the spit trumpet. And I'm like, that's
the spit tube.
It's disgusting, dude. Anyway, so back to what I was saying.
So
you found that. Moving on, you're going to clear it out.
Now we're past that. So I'm still working on that behind the scenes. After work each day, I go to the storage unit and unload a little bit more, use my van. But other than that, it was mostly just a series of like get-togethers for different things. So like I had a little family shindig, got together with some family members hadn't seen in a while, had a nice like picnic in their yard. We all got together, drank some beers, super hot day, but the shade in the tree, thank goodness, was awesome. There are so many great comments here. I just need to.
I am dying right now. Oh my God.
So much.
What I was most impressed by was the fact that Dino was offering to bring Wienerschnitzel, right?
Oh yeah.
Do you know that is one of my I can't. It's one of my what do you call that when you're just you can't say no?
Yeah. No, that is
what's what the word? I can't even think of the word I'm looking for.
It's an automatic consent food.
Dude, Wienerschnitzel. We don't have them here in Idaho, right?
The actual business
Wienerschnitzel.
The McDonald's of hot dogs.
The McDonald's of hot dogs, Dane.
Of German hot dogs. I used to visit there for the brief year that I lived in Ventura, California. I enjoyed stopping by. If it wasn't In-N-Out, it was Wienerschnitzel. And you go there and you're just like, what is this place? And you're looking at the menu going, there's some weird choices.
Dude, it was like
and then you had it and you're like, wow. Okay, this is a choice.
It's a hut. Mine was. It was like a hut-shaped thing.
Yeah, it's always like that Pizza Hut style.
You had to drive through the middle, right? But my favorite, dude, as a 4th grader, however old I was going there and getting their dollar chili dogs, right? Tuesday was dollar chili dogs. I'd get 3 of them as a 4th grader, right? Just pound them down, dude.
Oh, yeah.
And then I think right when I got into my teenage years, I started eating the sauerkraut dogs with mustard.
You developed the taste for the more adult toppings. No kid is gonna want this, but the older folks are like, yes, sauerkraut.
Yeah. So, but my favorite part was that it was in an area of town that was a little bit dicey, right?
Yeah, sure.
There was a phone booth right at the corner, right? For the kids that don't know what a phone booth, it was like a legit phone booth.
I love that we're at the point now where we have to explain what a phone booth is to some people.
That you walked into, had the telephone book hanging by a chain, right? in the phone booth.
Yeah.
But it had graffiti all over it. And my favorite thing is that it was the kids' favorite place to go. Me and my brother and sister, we loved the Wienerschnitzel, right? But my mom was always like, yeah, we can go there. And we're like, we want to eat outside, right? Tables were always covered in bird crap.
Oh yeah,
and there was a horrible problem with just tweakers on that corner. Right, they're just all over the place. So my mom would hover, being like, okay, don't go that way, don't go that way,
don't trip and fall on
the amount of people that came up to my mom and said, hey, can I have money? I want to buy a hot dog. Can I have money? Can I have money? It was insane. So my mom literally wanted to stop going there because of how often we were getting approached for money, by the homeless and the tweakers and all that. But my favorite was that my sister, she loved the phone booth. She would always run to that phone booth and she would grab it and start playing on the phone. My mom's like, stop touching that.
All I could think
Stop touching that. Don't
touch
how
they
phone.
Do those studies where they put like the germ lens on the camera and they show you like a gas station handle pump.
Yeah.
Like that is the worst thing ever.
It was her favorite thing.
A phone booth has to somehow be just as bad, if not worse, compared to a gas station handle. Although almost everybody at the time was filling up their car with gas, but a lot of people were using payphones too.
Yeah. I want to say that the phone booths were Pac Bell phone booths.
Yeah, Pacific Bell.
Old school Pac Bell phone booths. And
Packard Bell. Pacific Bell or Packard Bell?
I think it was something like that. But across the street was also the very first Taco Bell that Modesto, California ever had, right? And it was still a Taco Bell. I mean, dude, it had been there for like
no, gee, there is
Wienerschnitzel
like at the Schnitzel Garden. Of course there is. But when he says Wienerschnitzel, he's talking about the actual business, the Wienerschnitzel.
The business. It's a chain, right?
Yeah.
But like it's one of those that
It's exclusively West Coast, isn't it?
I would love to have that here. I really would. I would argue to say like I'd want an In-N-Out burger here first, which we're getting, right? If we
but the lines are going to be
dude. If we got a Wienerschnitzel, we would have it all, man. We would have it all. Those chili dogs, Dane. I would just come over to your house, sit in that massage chair, crack open a couple of these chili dogs, some sauerkraut ones, right? Then we can watch season 3 of The Boys together.
Yeah. That one's getting weird. Oh, yeah, there we go. Pacific Bell.
There we go.
Yeah, it looks about as clean as I remember.
So so this looks pretty close, but the one that we had the plexiglass on it, right? So you couldn't break it. But
this is the kind of phone booth, like the setting of this one looks like somebody would run into it after accidentally seeing like an alien crash landing in the desert.
What we need to do is like we need to give Glenn a compliment. Glenn is not even old enough to know what a real phone booth looks like but she found that. Oh, she's seen Doctor
That's
Who.
A really
she said
reference.
Okay. Anyway, so moving on, right? I don't even know how we got on this track.
I'm loving the tangents today.
Yeah,
I hope that the 15 people who are watching were enjoying that, but now there's 20, so maybe we actually piqued their interest. I don't know. Yeah. These podcasts are always a little on the slower side. It's not
Joey,
like Q&A where it's a crazy group.
Joey, as somebody in the deep South, I'm kind of I'm saddened to hear that they don't appreciate some good Southern hot dogs, right? For you.
Yeah,
that is kind of a bummer, right?
It's an acquired taste for some people.
You know what? We lack a lot of. I was gonna say.
Oh boy!
I can't say.
Can't wait to see.
I don't know if I can say that word on here. It's the Gen Z's term for a hot dog, right?
I'll say it, glizzies.
Yeah. So the West Coast is actually full of glizzy places, right? So for example, you could go to Wienerschnitzel, get yourself, a nice chili covered, kraut covered glizzy, hot dog, whatever you want to get, right? But then there's this place in the mall, right?
Yeah.
I love this place in the mall.
Oh, right.
It was called Hot Dog on a Stick, right?
It's like, what else are you going to
It was a corn dog place, right? All they did were corn dogs and like cheese-filled corn dogs, and then they had fresh lemonade every day, right?
They're basically doing a carbon copy of Pronto Pup.
And the outfits were horrible. I'm sorry.
What is it about these places, the outfits they give, the poor folks who have to work at these particular places get like the loudest, most like ridiculous, outfits. Like they look like a circus tent.
No, it was a circus is what it was. But they would pump the lemonade in front of you. They would churn it, right?
Yeah.
Like whatever you want to call it. They would just take both their hands and they would get in there, right? Twist it too, right?
Sure.
Just to get everything out of it. And it was killer lemonade, man. It was really, really good. They had pink lemonade, normal lemonade. But then my favorite though was I would get this is before I was lactose intolerant, I would get the cheese corn dog, right? With just a little smidge of mustard on it. Dude, it was insanely good. And the breading on it was very good as well. But there it is, man. Hot dog on a stick, dude.
Yep.
And they would dip it in front of you.
Yep.
Set it in the fryer, pull it out of the fryer, and bam, give it to you a nice, fresh, hot dog on a stick.
I'm getting like a contact sad. Just from how sad people in the photos look.
Yeah, but I want to say they use like Meyer lemons or something like that because the lemons were just so much better. Like the lemonade was so much better. But yeah, man, like I said, the West Coast, so many more hot dog options for the hot dog people out there.
But see, I mean, hot dogs are a little different as you travel further east. When you go to the Midwest, it's a very different animal. They're very popular
more sauerkraut,
there, but they're a
more
little bit
Polish,
different.
More brats.
And then you go to the East Coast, and they're going to say, well, we had the best dogs. So actually, the dogs, they have some legs, depending on where you go. But
that actually, you know what?
Yeah.
You actually have a great point. East Coast would technically should be way more
talking about the
glizzy relevant.
Carts and the bodegas and stuff like that. I mean,
a lot of carts, right? And we don't, in Idaho, we don't really have anything. We had Pronto Pups, but Pronto Pups only comes around for the fair because they make enough money during one day of the fair to pretty much like live the entire year. Yeah. We don't have any hard locations there. No. There once was a hot dog place that opened in Meridian, failed horribly.
Well, there was one that seemed to last forever, but I never understood. It was like it was that Chicago style hot dog thing next to the Rite Aid, like stuck in between the AutoZone and a Rite Aid and a hot dank parking lot.
In Meridian, yeah.
And it never looked like it was open, yet it was there for years. Like the entire time, the whole 11 years I lived there, this place was there, but I don't think I saw open more than once or twice. It was weird. It looked like an abandoned house stuck in between two strip mall buildings.
So what I'm getting out of this is that I probably shouldn't open up a hot dog venture here in Idaho.
Not if you plan on making money.
But my favorite, though, is downtown one time. We have this place called Gator Dog, right? Downtown. There's a cart. There's a cart downtown. Yeah. Everybody goes downtown, get a few drinks in them, start walking the streets. They get hungry. There's a guy in a cart selling these things called Gator Dogs, right? My favorite, I was with a couple of friends, and there was this girl who she's like, hey, blah blah, I'm gonna stop and get a Gator Dog, and we're like, hey, we're not doing that. We're going to Jimmy John's right now. We're not getting the Gator Dog.
That's right.
And she's like, here, let me just get my Gator Dog. We're like, it's disgusting. You're getting one literally covered in onions and cheese. Like that's like we're only in the middle of the night, right? We're not the end of the night where you're about to go home. We're in like
you're not at the sloshed and put weird toppings
on. We're between bars, right? So we're like from one bar to going to the next.
This is great morning chat, by the way. I'm sure everybody's relating.
We're going
so
to a Jimmy John's,
everything we're saying right
and
now.
Next thing you know, this girl gets this Gator Dog. I'm watching her. It was just disgusting. Dude. She gets this thing covered. I mean, it's literally dripping like grease and everything out of it.
What
this
else
girl, right? I watch her. She doesn't take a bite into the Gator Dog like a normal hot dog, right? She bites right into the middle of it. And
just
she doesn't split it.
Just Titanics it. But splits it right down.
She Titanics it, and she goes, "Oh my God, this is so good." She's like, "Do you want a bite?" And I look at her, I say, "That is the most unappetizing way to ever present a hot dog to somebody is when you have a bite right out of the middle, right?"
I'm loving this. Yes, Joey, I'm not surprised to see that. That's cool, though.
So, needless to say, the Gator Dogs are ruined for me here. And so every time I see that place, as delicious as it looks, I just think about that girl biting into the middle of a hot dog and presenting it to me like it was something that I should be proud of. Yeah. And I was just disgusted. And I said, I'm going to eat my Jimmy John's. And, anyways, not a deal.
Now that we've enjoyed that tangent, which, by the way, I feel like, if you want a good,
hot dog talk.
If you want a
this
good
is hot dog talk.
Where you can make some money doing something you enjoy on the side. Maybe we should, I don't know, a wild idea. Maybe we should make a podcast or something. Just just throw that out there. Would you like more like these kinds of conversations where it's clearly off?
Dude, I don't think they really care. The thing is, they came here for detailing.
Yeah.
I'm talking.
We deliberately don't give them.
I'm talking about West Coast and East Coast glizzies, right? Talking about the differences, and I'm talking about stories from my college years. I don't think anybody wants to hear this.
You have to go to Norwood for that.
So, is it Norwood or Norfolk?
No, Norwood is where the detail shop that we go to is.
Yeah,
for the show.
But no, dude, my wife, right? She loves ballpark dogs. Joey. Like she loves hot dog. Like a baseball game hot dogs, right? And
I want that to become a phrase now. You Titanic that dog.
Yeah. But so my wife loves hot dogs, right? So I think every once in a while she'll go order one from like Sonic, right? The Sonic hot dogs aren't good. They're not good. I don't think that they're anything to write home about.
I do not care for those.
Sonic
has one good thing going for it.
What is that?
Cherry limeades.
That's
I
it,
can't
man.
get that many other places easily, but Sonic has that going for it.
I'm surprised Sonic is still in business. And the other day, I saw a guy actually on skates. I didn't know they allow that anymore. That they can still skate around and do that, which is really cool.
Hop thing.
But I think it's just one of those places where it's like, hey, what do you want for dinner? I don't know. Sonic.
You say it with the saddest look on your face. Okay, so I've enjoyed this tangent, but I don't want to bore everybody to death for those who actually came here for like some car content or something. But for those who enjoyed it, let us know in the Rag Company discussion group on Facebook. We do enjoy going on these occasionally, and when we have the opportunity, why not, right? So now, getting back to car stuff. My weekend was also occupied with a shared experience we had involving cars.
I know. I'll tell the full story on that. But so you did that, right? Mm-hmm. And then what else did you do? Anything else?
No, literally, it's spent clearing out my storage. I have nothing interesting left to add to this other than what we did involving cars.
Really? There's nothing else?
When I do this
Did you watch anything?
Oh, sure, I watched lots of stuff.
What'd you watch?
But I figured nobody wants to hear.
Well, don't tell me in excruciating detail, right?
No.
But just say like, hey, I checked out a movie.
No. I'll blast this series. Honestly, I can't praise it enough. Now, my movies I've seen this year that made a very strong impression on me.
I know it's
Number
everything,
one,
everywhere, all
at once.
Yeah,
as we know, that's my favorite movie I've seen this year, bar none. But Seabass said it best. The most movie I've seen has been RRR. That Indian movie is insane. And it's on Netflix. You can easily find it now. It's in Hindi, but there's also English subtitles and stuff.
What's the better experience?
Better experience? Yeah. I would say for a casual viewer, watching RRR is awesome because even if you don't necessarily understand...
Well, in Hindi or in English? Which one?
Oh, no, it is in Hindi. You don't get to change it, but they give you subtitles.
Oh, yeah. Gotcha. Okay.
So basically what it involves, like British, occupiers and stuff in India. So they speak English. So you get that part of it. Yeah. But sometimes the acting is a little stunted. So you'll get that it's a little... But the storytelling, in terms of using actions to tell a story... That movie is so effective at getting the point across every time it does something. You'll be watching going, now why are they doing that? And then there's a payoff. There's a setup and a payoff every time. It's really good movie making. So I realize for some people, they look at the runtime and go, oh my God, how can you watch a 3-hour movie? Which
I know how I can watch it with a couple glizzies and a couple glizzies and some ice limeade, right?
But I will say right now, that movie is bonkers, but in a great way. So fun movie, really intense, probably not for kids, but if you just want to see a story well told, that one will do it. Yeah. And of course, then the other one was Top Gun Maverick, was awesome. Just in its own way, it was a satisfying movie to watch too.
Great movie.
So shout outs on all those. Other stuff, I would say I watched The Boys. Been catching up, watching season 3. It's getting pretty crazy.
So good.
And I watched 2 nights ago. I watched the Westworld season 4 premiere, and third season went off the rails, but the fourth one, I don't know what it's doing yet. It's just all separated. It's just kind of I don't know.
Okay.
But I'm much more excited about The Boys and stuff has just been rocking for sure. Okay. But well worth watching. And Jimmy, I'm so glad we got Jimmy into watching it now too. He just started, so he's got a lot of learning and catching up to do. But it's going to blow his mind.
I agree.
Anyway, and actually, G. Davis, it's a fun distinction that nobody here is necessarily going to care about, but RRR is technically Tollywood. There's a lot of different kinds of Bollywood. Bollywood is the one everybody knows for Indian cinema, but there's actually many, and RRR is Tollywood. Just the more you know.
All
right. That's it. So, right. If I talk about Kenobi, I'm gonna upset some people because I have not enjoyed it.
Okay. Well, don't go into too much. Okay, you're bored by it.
It's just, for me, it's underwhelming. Sure, I might have been interested in the story, but it's not doing it for me. There were occasionally story beats where I was like, oh, now they're doing something. But then it would be ruined by the cheapness. I watched a YouTube video that perfectly summed up how for a show that's supposed to be this is one of your big main characters that everybody knows and loves. And I love that they got Ewan McGregor back for it. But the show feels so cheap at times. It's weird.
Really?
It's just weird. So
anyway, do you think that Mandalorian is still better?
Oh, from a viewing experience, I'd say The Mandalorian is the best thing they've made. out of any of that stuff.
Do you think there will be crossover, or do you think there's too much time difference between the events going on?
There's a big time difference there.
Yeah.
But you never know. They might find some way to drag it. But yeah, no, that's been interesting. So that's all I'll say on that. But yeah, let's go to the car show. Let's talk about that. Or your weekend leading up to the car show.
So, yeah. Friday night, I think it was like actually pretty laid back. I was one of those nights where I'm like, I probably should be doing some stuff, and I just didn't have time to get to it. I don't know what the heck I did. Yeah, I don't know what I did. I did something, but the rest of the weekend was pretty packed. So Saturday morning, woke up, and me and Katie went to go see that movie Black Phone.
Oh, is that the Ethan Hawke one?
It's the Ethan Hawke one, right? Now,
it looked like your standard kind of horror movie that comes out every year. There's one like this.
It's like one of those murder mystery / like some paranormal aspect to it.
So is it more of a thriller and less of a horror movie?
More of a thriller.
Okay.
It's kind of like what's not like. Does Skeleton Key have like some paranormal
Skeleton
stuff to
Key
it?
was actually one that I think
that was
marketing
more real,
kind of
right?
belied what the actual movie did, because the movie itself was more of a psychological thing and less of a dumb jump scare thing. Because I'll say it right now, when it comes to horror movie stuff, I'm not a huge fan to begin with, but I don't like the like dumb jump scare, cheap whatever, blah, thing like ooh spooky. I like good ambiance. If you can make a creepy ambiance that sticks with you through the whole movie and just is unsettling through the whole thing, not because you feel like there's going to be a cheap jump scare around the corner, but like just a general uneasy feeling, those movies are the ones that actually go on to become like cool classics, whatever.
This movie, I don't know how to describe it. It was almost 2 hours long, hour and 45 minutes.
Wow.
I felt like it's just one of those where if you see it, I'm sure you'll be somewhat entertained. It's not really funny. It's shot mostly in the same place the entire time. You get kind of frustrated with certain things at certain times. And it's just one of those combination of kid actors, Ethan Hawke not really finding out a whole lot about that and why that exists. But then this whole mystery of, missing people, dead people, whatever it is. And then the random person that kind of has powers to be able to see, visions.
It almost sounds like we're describing like The Shining, but in a different setting.
Kind of. There's some uncomfortable moments in the movie and things like that. Overall, like it was okay. If you wanted to see it, I guess you can go see it. I don't know. Whatever. Check it out for yourself. And let me know what you think.
If you want to watch some better movies, maybe then if you like horror kind of stuff. I figured this audience is older like us, but there's some younger people who maybe never watched like the Mothman Prophecies or the original American version of the Ring.
Butterfly Effect is also
decent.
Pretty good.
Butterfly Effect is fun. It's a little goofy, but it's fun.
A little goofy, but this movie is not like glizzy worthy, right? I would rate it on a scale of 1 to 10 glizzies. I'm giving it like a 2 hot dog rating on terms of enjoyment with a hot dog.
Yeah.
Right? With RRR, I might be like an 8 or 9 hot dog rating.
I think RRR would surprise you. I think somebody knowing absolutely nothing, not caring about Tollywood, Bollywood cinema, any of that stuff, just go in and watch that movie and just take it at face value as stuff's happening, you will not leave disappointed.
So how many hot dogs would you give it? 1 to 10?
What's the scale?
1 to 10. 1 being the worst, 10 being the best. How many hot dogs could you enjoy while watching that movie?
I would enjoy 9 to 10. I'm not even joking. Like, it's that effective. It's
Holy
just
crap, that's a lot of hot dogs.
It's such a bro down, like just like movie. It's just one of those things that's too much fun.
Wow.
And G. Davis described it. You just described my bar mitzvah. Well, I'm glad we were able to relate on that note.
All right, the new hot dog rating system has begun here on movies, right? So moving on from there, I end up because we had dropped off Lucy, at my parents' house, so we and Katie can go.
I was going to say Lucy did not go to the movie.
No, me and Katie can go enjoy our date, and then
you haven't taken her to any
movies,
theaters or anything, right?
Not yet. I don't think
you haven't been those parents.
No,
yet.
She's not.
Okay.
I don't know if we will. I just don't see the reason. Moving on.
It anyway.
I rush home. Like I'm rushing home. I get home. I now have to wash and more than wash, but clean up and get 2 cars ready for a car show because that Saturday night, roughly starting about 5:30, Larry Miller Honda was throwing on a Honda meet. Mm-hmm. It is Honda Day in Boise, right?
They're making fun of the whole Honda Days thing and actually making it a car show.
Well, we've never had a Honda Day in Boise, technically, where it's a specific Honda meet show for anything. We've never had anything like that. I don't even think in all of Idaho,
there's
right?
Toyotathon, and then there's Honda Days.
Yeah.
Those are sales events, but still.
H-Day, right, is a big Honda event, right?
Okay.
It's a huge, huge. People travel from around the country for this. Whereas this was just a very small, meant to be a couple-hour event that's going to happen. Now, the things that were working either against us or with us is that during that day was the Boise Music Festival, right? Boise Music Festival is where D-list.
Let's put this nicely. This is where a lot of, I'm just going to say it, washed up musical acts sometimes find their way in, but not like in a degrading way. I realize the terminology might be a little harsh, but where acts who may have been very popular back in the day, but maybe haven't been for the last decade or so or longer, find their way back into a big concert. And it's like a big kind of festival atmosphere. It's fun. And back like in the 90s, 2000s, where it's changed, like from the River Festival, the Music Festival, all this stuff. Boise has like a good festival environment that they've done. But the Music Fest was definitely a place where I'm like, oh, that was the first time I saw like the actual Backstreet Boys in person and stuff like that. Like they will bring acts there for that purpose. But they've had some fun ones in the past.
Dude, we had Jason Derulo one year.
Yeah.
Right? But that was when he was in his like lull. Like he had gotten to the top.
Exactly. No, that's
and
just
then he kind of dipped. And then now he's back up.
You're either getting acts who are on the downslide and they're like halfway to the bottom, but they're not fully there yet. So they still have name recognition amongst a good number of people, but they're not like selling out, concert venues anymore. Or you're getting acts who haven't gone public in years. And then this is their first like foray back into public sphere, and they want a pretty welcoming environment. This festival kind of offers that to them because people there, they're not like bummed out that there's, an act that's going to be playing that maybe hasn't been popular for a while. People are excited about that. They're like, oh man, nobody's seen these guys or these girls since, 1995 or something. And now they're performing here. Like here was Eve 6. Like I thought that was cool.
That's pretty cool. Yeah.
But they had a few others. Who else was there?
I don't even know. So back in the day,
you can look it up. Boise Music Festival. They definitely bring some fun.
Back in my band days, we played the Boise Music Festival, I think 3 years, right? When I was in a band. We were in one of the, I think the alternative or
it's like one of the local band kind of tent stage, whatever.
We were at one of the stages. And it was always fun, man. I mean, it was always really cool. We always looked forward to it. It was a big deal for us. We were just kids and we were playing, a show.
Well, you're performing for people. That's exciting.
And there was always like a good couple hundred people. And I was like, dang, this is awesome, right?
Well, the fest has definitely blown up a lot. I remember seeing Bret Michaels there once.
Yeah, dude. I was in the tent with Bret Michaels. That was another story I can save for another time. Long story short, I got access into the VIP tent with a bunch of these other stars.
Well, I lived right up the hill from where they were doing. And that's all I had to do was walk down and just enjoy the show and go back home.
Yeah. So anyway,
there's some fun stuff.
Boise Music Festival was happening, but there was also, I believe it was the Midnight Drags, and then also Import Face Off was happening at Firebird Raceway.
Right.
So
there
was a lot of events happening that weekend where I didn't really know what to expect of this Honda meet. Being
you probably expect 10 cars show up, and you're like, I guess that's it.
I just thought okay, could there be 20 people? Could there be 200? I have no idea.
20 people. I see what you did there.
All I knew is that I needed to clean up 2 cars, right? The plan was I would drive the Honda Civic. Jimmy was going to come over with his girlfriend, Jen. He was going to take the CRZ. Jen was going to drive her Accord. And then Dane was going to meet up as our JDM support vehicle.
Let's be fair. Her Accord is not just a normal Accord. It actually looks
it's bagged.
It looks cool.
It's bagged on wheels.
Stancy kind of way.
Stancy, yeah.
It's a good color.
So now I've never done 2 vehicles back to back for my own I guess. Like I've washed my car and Katie's car back to back, right? But I've never had the pressure of being like, oh, these cars need to look presentable and good.
People are going to be scrutinizing these.
Like these cars need to look presentable and good. And like I had 2 hours to clean, do everything to both vehicles, wash, dress, trim stuff, wheels, wheels, barrels, all that stuff. And so I was on a big time crunch. So gave the Civic a wash, foamed it down, I mean, everything went pretty smoothly, knocked out the wheels and all of that. I'm finding that for wheel cleaning, I am actually using a lot more Green Star these days than Brake Buster. And it's not for any particular reason. Green Star, I've just been buying, diluting, using it for so many different things. So I'm kind of just using it as a normal
multitasking with it.
Yeah, I'm just using it as a normal APC, but I also feel like it's pretty gentle on most things, but it does a really good job on wheels, tires, fender wells, and all of that. So been using Green Star a lot lately, and then in my foam cannon, I've been kind of mixing it up a little bit. I've been throwing GSF in. I've been kind of trying to blow through a lot of PNS Pearl that I still have left over from a couple leaky gallons I got. And
they didn't arrive to you leaky. You deliberately sought them out because they were. I took
some of the leakers that we had here that were broken from shipping or returns or whatever. And so I used that. So the Civic cleaned up really nicely. I think I was a little disappointed because I think that I used a bad towel during one of my previous washes. Maybe not this one, but I noticed that my coating is getting pretty marred up. A lot of white marks. So what I'm guessing I picked up maybe a bad towel or I used something. I don't know. All I know is that my roof is all marred up. My quarters have some marring on them. Not bad, but just it's bothering me now.
At least it's the roof and not really other spots as much.
Well, keep in mind, the car was coated, a year and a half ago now, right? It was coated not last year, but another half year before that with CSL and EXO. Yeah. EXO not being the hardest thing in the world. The CSL EXO thing not being the hardest thing in the world.
It is susceptible to some marking if you're using a bad towel.
Well, the full hydrophobic effects are there. It's still doing everything the coating needs to do. It's just now it's kind of looking a little worn. However, the car still glows. I mean, it's glowing. It's very, very red. But I am wondering, Anthony, do I be crazy and repolish it out, make it perfect, redo it? Yeah. Or do I just let it go because it's coated and protected and just it's going to get marred up anyways? I don't know. So did that. Dreammaker on the top of that. It was like, by the time I pulled out in the driveway, I'm like, oh my God, glowing. But it was 90 degrees that day. I'm washing at 2 p.m. Direct sunlight beating down on me. So shout out to the CR Spotless system because without that would have been the biggest pain in the ass. Like I said, I had much more working time. It was less stressed, but I was able to knock that out. Gave the interior a quick wipe down, dressed the tires, and I called it good. Now the CRZ hasn't been washed in, I think, over since we left on our trip. Before we left on our trip, have not washed it since then. So it's been well over a month now. So I gave that a quick clean, same thing, foam cannon, washed it down, did the wheels, and put more Dreammaker on that. But we had that dirty water. Remember a month ago?
Yeah, it was bad.
Completely really stained bad. My black wrap on the roof. So I need to polish that out. Stained my trim. There was, like I said, that dirty rain. There was something in it. There were some mineral deposits.
It was not coming out with the standard wash. It needed like physical abrasion to get rid of at least the surface.
It jacked some stuff up, and so I'm kind of mad about that. So I got to polish out the wrap. But overall, I was able to knock out both cars. By the time I was done, though, I was so freaking sweaty. I was more than hot. Right? It was kind of like that overheating feeling. Like, okay, I'm kind of cooking right now. But got both cars done. They looked pretty good. I don't think they were my best washes ever. Not my worst, but they looked fine.
Sharp. I mean, it really did. I think you used Dreammaker on it again, you said?
Yeah.
Because I think whatever it is about Dreammaker really makes that red on that Civic pop more than almost anything.
Well, that was the car that I tested most of Dreammaker out on. So, it should be.
It stands out.
But after that, so basically Jimmy and Jen rolled up, kind of hung out for just a little bit. She kind of cleaned up her car, did a little bit of quick detail on it. And then Jimmy jumped in the CRZ and let's see. Oh, what did Tom Kirby say? Did the dirty rain stain the roofs on the homes? God, I hope not. Right?
I mean, if you have shingles, not the actual like affliction of shingles, but like shingles on your roof, I don't think that's really an issue.
No, it was mainly just anything with a smooth surface. I felt like
anything with a borderline reflective surface was
it stained it, and so that's why I'm kind of like maybe if I polish out the roof of the Civic, I'd be happier again. I don't know. This is just me being a little bit I'm caring a little bit too much for something I shouldn't care about.
Loud. That's okay. That's what a podcast is for.
But from there, though, we cruised, all three of us, or four of us. Dane showed up with the JDM support vehicle, and we all cruised to the car show. Now, what I wasn't expecting was that when we pulled up, the place was freaking packed.
It was popping.
It was. I couldn't believe it. All of Larry Miller Honda, dude, from one end to the next was absolutely full. Like, full. And I pull up
it
and...
It felt like back when Cars and Coffee was, pretty... energetic.
And this is going to sound kind of... I don't want this to sound bad.
Pre-Porsche incident.
Yeah. I don't want this to sound kind of like, like I was expecting some special treatment. But when I was talking to the guy that was hosting the event at Larry Miller, who works at Larry Miller, he said, hey, man, we would love to see you come out. You can bring both your cars. And
was that how you first found out about this thing?
Yeah. Okay. And he's like, I got a special spot saved for you. Please come out. I think, people would really like to see your cars there. Oh, cool. Right on.
He's not wrong.
So I'm pulling up. Behind me is Jimmy. Behind Jimmy is Jen, and behind Jen is Dane. We pull up, and I said, "Hey, man, where do you want us to park at?" Right? And the guy's like, "Yeah, dude, packed event, man. Just find a place, probably in the back there."
So the guy who said this to you was not that guy.
It was that guy.
It was that guy.
Yeah. He's like, just find a place in the back, 4th row. I guess wherever you can find a spot.
Yeah, he kept saying 4th row.
And I was kind of like. 4th row. I'm like, wherever I can find it. I'm like, what the heck?
But he's the one who asked you to be there,
I
right?
thought that, I thought that there should be a kind of a better parking spot. Whatever, dude. So I started driving through, and then right as Jen's pulling up in her Accord, right, they say, hey, grab her. I don't want her in the back. I want her up front. Let's get her right here. And I heard it, and I'm like, what? Just because I'm not a girl and I'm not blonde, I have to park in the back?
Well, I have an alternative theory as to why that happened. Her Accord is still new enough that it looks like the current model Accord that they sell at the dealership.
Yeah.
So your cars are no longer made. So it's harder to make a sale.
They're classics.
Which is fine. I love your cars. But in her case, her Accord looks like the newer stuff. So they're like, yes, let's showcase this thing. We want people to buy new cars because that's what we as the dealership want people to do. So they're trying to prioritize, look at all the cool custom things you can do to your new Accord.
It could be that. Yeah. It could be that.
So I think the logic was there, less so than simply girl, blonde, driving.
Yeah, that's
cool
probably
car.
true.
I think it was more the car itself was newer, so they
we pull up, and I'm thinking, I'm not going to be that far back. I mean, guys, I was at the very back of the lot.
You couldn't have been more back.
I couldn't have been any further from the car show itself, right? And but it was what it was. I mean, so we backed in, and to my surprise, I get out of my car, and there was 15 kids out in front of my car who were
they saw it. They knew what they were looking at.
Who had walked from the entrance all the way back over, and they're like, "Hey, man, what's going on? I love your car." And I thought that was really cool. And so, needless to say, I met a bunch of cool people. Yeah. We walked around. I took photos, took some videos, and it was just an insane turnout. There was probably 15 or 16 Civic Type R's. There was probably 10 or 12.
One giant row of them. I thought they were just dealer stock, but actually they were all owned by people.
Whole row of Civic Type R's. Then there was about, I think, 6 or 7 S2000s, an absurd amount of 90s Hondas, everything from hatchbacks to sedans to coupes to
a lot of EGs, EKs, that kind of stuff.
A lot of different cars. A lot of them had K swaps in them. Some of them had running big turbos. There was an old Datsun there with a K20 in it.
The Datsun was cool. The Toyota Corona was cool too.
Yeah, there was a ton of stuff
there. Or it
there.
was a Corolla, not a Corona.
It was a Corolla.
Would be bigger.
But I was really impressed, basically. I mean, that's what I'm trying to say is that they had a food truck. They had the limited edition Phoenix Yellow Type R in the showroom,
along
kind
with
of on
an
display
NSX.
With an NSX next to it. And they did it right. Good. They had music playing. There was food. There was everything that you would need out of a good car show. But what was the craziest thing to me is that the car show started at 5:30. We got there about 5:45 or so.
Yeah, we showed up fashionably late on purpose.
At about, no, not on purpose. We were just running behind.
It was on purpose.
At 7 o'clock, man. At 7 o'clock, everybody started bailing.
Oh,
the
yeah.
car show, it had only gone on for
thing.
an hour and 15 minutes. And just, I mean, literally about half of the car show left.
It was so strange to watch it happen because it reminded me so much of the car equivalent of when you're at a party, just a house party, and it's popping. And then imagine there's like 20, maybe 30 people there. It's like on the smaller side, but it's not small. Like there's enough people there. It feels like there's a lot of energy. As soon as like 8, 9, 10 people leave, maybe they all came together, even if they're in separate cars or whatever, those people leave, the party feels a lot emptier. And suddenly those other people are left behind, even though they're still the majority of what was once there. They're feeling like, oh, this thing's kind of dying out. Maybe it's time for me to... And then next thing you know, they all bail too. And then the place is just ghost town. So immediately.
I was like super shocked. I'm like, guys, this is a great show. I mean, like everybody should...
It was.
Like stick around. I mean, this is going good. Then half the people left. And
it didn't overstay its welcome though either.
Yeah.
So it was... It did what it was supposed to do.
It did. So it was funny because I walked back to the car because I saw some kids over there. So I went to go talk to them. And the guy that's helping host the event pulls up in a golf cart and he goes, "Hey, dude, what are you doing parked all the way back here?" And I said,
"You told me
to park back here. You said everything else was full." And he was like, "Oh, dude, I can get you a spot up front, man. Do you want me to get you a spot up front?" I'm like,
"Now."
I'm like, "Not now. I'm already here, and everybody knows that I'm back here, so it's fine." And he's like, "All right, cool, man. Hey, sorry about that." But, and then he kind of pieces out.
It just kind of defeats the whole purpose.
I'm kind of going around shooting more photos and videos and stuff, and then he walks up to me. He's like, "Hey, man, I just want you to know, yeah, dude, there's nobody else shooting any video for the event, so whatever you get." If we could use it for next year,
suddenly went from being fun to being a job.
Yeah, if we can use that next year, we can compensate you for your work here. And I'm kind of like, first you make me park in the back, then you act like that I'm crazy because I parked in the back, and then now you're asking me for my footage, right? You're asking me for my video footage. I'm like, who do you think you are, man? So
I'm about to say some words I'm going to regret.
No, I'm just it's all in good fun. But. Did that, and we were there from roughly till about 8:00, and we talked to a bunch of people. Yeah. The kid that was literally the most excited to talk to me and see me and just show me his car was was a kid who had a 1988 Prelude 4WS.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Hey, those are cool cars. Dude, don't be knocking.
I'm not knocking
Prelude.
I'm not knocking it. This kid, dude, was so stoked to show me his car. He's like, "I have something very interesting you want to see, Anthony." I said, "Okay." Walked over there. He's like, "I want to show you the party trick." And so four wheel steer, right? He gets in the car and he's like, "Look at the rear wheels," and he starts cranking this wheel back and forth.
That poor power steering pump is just
and he's like, "Do you see it? Do you see it?" I'm like, "Oh, I see it. The wheels are turning," and it is cool, man. It is cool to see them because they go the opposite way of which the front wheels are turning, right?
Yeah. Earlier versions of four-wheel steering tended to be more on the passive side.
Yeah.
Where it just kind of followed things. The more modern ones, like there was a while where it died out through the late 90s and through the early to late 2000s, I guess, early 2000s. There were no real four-steering cars except for like quadra-steer on the GM, like the Suburbans and the C4 Sierras and stuff.
Yeah.
But then cars started bringing it back, like Porsche 911s now have four-wheel steering, and Mercedes have four-wheel steering, and like these guys are bringing it back. But Honda and other companies were pioneering this stuff back in the late 80s and early 90s. It was not unheard of.
It was just a really cool car to see. Cool. I loved his energy. It was awesome to see somebody so pumped to show me their car. So after that, though, it was just kind of funny because that dealership, right, is where I bought my Honda.
Yeah, no, it's a great story for them.
It's a good story because I was like, yeah, man, I bought my car here for $1,500, right? It was on its way to auction, basically. It was absolutely beat. And the guy that sold the car to me was there as well with his Honda. And he was just pumped to see it in person. Everybody was just excited to see it, but it looked really good.
Some people didn't believe it was the same car.
The Dreammaker, honestly, man, I mean, it's also the coating, but the car was absolutely glowing for the show, which I was excited about. It really overshadowed the CRZ. I mean, the CRZ still hasn't been corrected or cleaned up yet.
There was another CRZ at the show
who was also excited to see my CRZ. Yeah, he was pretty pumped. But the car looked amazing, and I got a ton of compliments. Everybody was just saying, "Man, I can't believe how red this car is. What'd you paint it with? What'd you do this with?" And when they started finding out the story, and I just kind of told the kids, man, I said, "Guys, like this is why premium detailing products make a difference. They could not understand.
No, they thought you painted it, and that was why it looked that good.
They said, well, no, I get it. I got the Chemical Brothers stuff, and I use that, and it doesn't look like this. And I said, okay.
Not those
and I try to explain. I said, hey, guys, theradcompany.com, right? Check out the YouTube channel. Check out the stuff. Like, we film a lot of stuff on how to get cars polished, how to get them coated, how to get them to another level. Yeah. And a lot of these cars they're showing me, like, I walked around one Civic, and he's like, yeah, my paint's just destroyed on it. I look at it, I'm like, dude, there's a lot to work with on this. And he goes, no, it'll never look as good as yours. And
no, if it's the one I'm thinking of, it was very swirly, but there was a lot of paint left on it. There was all the room in the world to be able to actually do some polishing, do some compounding, fill it in if you gotta. But that would look amazing. A couple of those black Civics.
I mean, it's not a secret, but at the same time, I kind of want to keep it a secret because they really do think it's just like magic, and really, it's just products.
They just had a hard time believing it.
Paint correction.
You're proof it works.
Yeah. So, good show. We left there on a good note. Like, I don't know. I mean, we ended at about the right time. I would like it to see it go for longer, maybe half a day next year, maybe more food trucks, maybe more activities and whatnot. But everybody was really respectful. And
they liked my van, too, even though it's a Toyota.
Oh, a ton of
they
people
were actually
love the
stoked
van.
to see a right-hand drive vehicle there. So that was fun. I left the door open like I did at the other car show because people love seeing that limo seating facing backwards. Yeah. And I parked in the shade because I wanted to make it like a mobile living room if anybody wanted to get out of the sun for a bit. Well, there you go.
Yeah. It was pretty cool. Yeah. So, so great. I mean, great job from the team there. I mean, like I said, I don't have any complaints. We'll just see how it goes next year, maybe bigger and better. But
I know more than you.
Pretty much, dude. Pretty much. And so after that, so that night was pretty chill. And then Sunday, I was pretty excited because I don't know, Glenn, do you have any of those photos from the car show? I didn't take a whole lot. I did on Slack. Oh crap! Wrong. I said I'm on the wrong platform. Never mind.
He's having a conversation with the voice.
Never mind. So moving on. So Sunday, right? Yeah. I think I won Dad and Husband of the Year, right? Because our new, I'll call it the ADA. It is the ADA Pool Solution Package 1.0.
Well, it's not ADA compliant unless it has a ramp.
Okay, I guess I can't say that. So it is the Anthony Fisher from the Rag Company, right? Pool Solution Package. Actually, technically, this is like 1.2.
Oh, okay. So you had an earlier version that was like a little kiddie pool.
Last year, I got Katie a kiddie pool when she was pregnant, right?
What do those run these days?
The kiddie pool, I think we paid like $40 for it last year, right? It was like a inflatable whatever.
How many feet?
That diameter? One was like 3 by 6 or something, right?
Like an oval. Okay.
Yeah, it had like multiple layers of inflation, and we put it on our side yard in the rocks. And
I'm sure they were not kind.
It was next to the trash cans and my used tires, right? So it was like the trashiest like pool thing we've ever had. But she had that last year when she was pregnant. She loved it, right? Now that we're getting into the hot heat, right? We're in 100-degree weather now. I was talking to her because I was like, hey, what if we got another pool, but this time we did a little bit nicer, and then we put it on our concrete slab on our patio, right? Yeah. We have it's roughly a 10 by 20 patio that we can put it on. And she's like, yeah, we just moved some of the furniture around and we set it on there. That would be pretty cool. So jumped on Amazon, got lost there on different pool types. I knew I wanted to go with a round style pool.
Sure.
And I found it's called Intex. Intex is the company.
Yeah, that's a standard brand for that kind of stuff. They make like air mattresses and stuff too.
So it's just one of those inflatable top ring pools that's 8 feet in diameter, 30 inches deep, right? And has its own pump and filtration system, right? It's a
Okay, so it actually has a filter.
Oh yeah, full 3-tube, thing. Okay, so can we roll up that first photo of the car show just so they can see kind of where? There we go. So there's a couple Honda boys that wanted to park sandwich me in, and then there's me and Dane and the CRZ at the end of the show.
Yep.
Car's looking pretty red. And then, that one yet. We'll get to that story, Glenn. Okay, that's good for right now.
Yeah.
So set up this pool, filter, all that. It was $108 on Amazon, right?
Honestly, not bad.
No, for a filtered
pool.
8-foot in diameter pool. It's 30
Is it
inches
8
deep.
foot round or is it 8 foot like oval
8 foot
by?
round, 8 foot round.
Just full circle.
Full circle.
Okay.
And set it up on the patio. Took me, I don't know, an hour or so. Filled it up with water. Got everything set up, all the tubes and everything. And by that afternoon, Katie and Lucy and my mother-in-law were ready to jump in, right? So 100 degrees that day.
Yeah.
And just the coolest, like, honestly, I think not the best $100 I've spent, but definitely not a bad purchase.
You made
at
a
all.
memory.
And so we threw Lucy in. She has like a little floating thing. Let's see if we can. Glenn, do you have the picture? There she is, right there. And she is just in heaven. She has a little thing that kind of overhangs, and
so cute.
And she got to just absolutely loved it, right?
That's great.
But yeah, filter all that. Then I went to the store that night, got myself some tester strips and some little bit of chlorine shock stuff, and
so you're planning on keeping this out there for a while. Then you're not going to empty it and then refill it.
No, this is. I'm gonna try. I mean, with the filter and all of that stuff, I'm gonna try to keep it going for probably, I don't know, at least until end of August, right?
Nice. Yeah.
And so you might
have to send me a link to that. I may have to put that on my back patio.
I am a pool owner, Dane.
Ooh,
I am
I
am a pool owner.
Now,
I maintain a pool now.
So it's got a filter, which is very cool. Is it rigid, like around the outside, or is it inflatable?
So it's
squishy?
that strong nylon material.
Okay.
So it's stiff enough, right?
Gotcha.
That it's got the ring on top that's inflatable.
And it's like
that
a little
seems...
A-frame ladder that gets you up and over. And
No, you just climb in.
You just hop in.
You just hop in. And like I said, it's 30 inches deep, so it's not that bad. I mean, you can float still, right? Yeah. And you can lay on your back, you can float, do whatever you want to do. Perfect. I mean, there is the baby, my mother-in-law, and Katie in there. There's still room for another person, another grown-up to go sit in there and hang out and stretch out too. So really cool. I'm pretty pumped on it, and I will be maintaining that, covering it, shocking it, changing the filters on it, checking the pH of that thing, right? Keeping that thing pretty dang nice, right?
Nice.
So I'll keep you updated on the pool story. But best $100 that, like I said, I think I'll probably spend this summer, maybe.
No, that's awesome.
So check it out. Yeah, it's just Intex 8-foot pool on Amazon. If you have kids or just want something small to fit somewhere, I don't know. My surface wasn't perfectly level. Also, I have a very slight
bit of a
degree,
slope in your backyard.
Just very slight degree of decline on that patio, but it still works fine. So, needless to say, it's going to be used every day. So I did that on Sunday, and then what else did I do on Sunday? Then Sunday I was going to do a bunch of yard maintenance, but it was just too dang hot, so I didn't end up doing any of that. But last story for today, and we'll end this podcast. Yesterday I was coming home from work, right? Left, 104 degrees, getting in my car, and I'm like, dang, it's hot, dude. On my way home, stop at the gas station, which is like literally just the block down from us. And I go in there to grab a cucumber lime Gatorade Zero, one of my go-tos. Wow. Talk to the kid there. The kid there knows who I am and knows the rag company. He's like, hey, can I show you my motorcycle? So he walks me around his Ninja 300. I'm sitting there in the heat, dying of a heat stroke, trying to be nice. And I said, awesome, dude. All right, well, I got to get going. So I jump back onto what we had State Street, right, is what we have right out front here. It's a 5-lane road, right?
So
I am traveling.
Center merging lane and then 2 lanes on each side for traffic.
Correct. And I am, put the pool link in the Facebook. I will, I will. And I'm going to send you guys my affiliate link too. So maybe I make some money on it. So,
hey, I'll buy one.
So 5 lanes, right? I am traveling westbound, right? So I'm traveling westbound towards my home. I am in the left lane going westbound, just cruising about 50 miles an hour, right? To my left is the merging lane. To my other left are the other 2 opposing lanes. And I'm cruising about 50, and out of the corner of my eye, I see leaving the golf course, which is literally just blocks away down here. I see a graphite kind of grayish C6 Corvette, right? Okay. Caught my eye just because it was shiny, and I go, oh, Corvette, right? Yeah. I see this Corvette, gas it, right, to what looks to be crossing the 2 opposing lanes and getting into what you would see the merging lane, right? Yeah. So I'm expecting, hey, this guy's going to probably merge right next to me or maybe right in front of me and merge
People
into
do that
lane.
all the time. That's not unusual. Common. People will pull into that middle
But
lane.
I was hyper aware of it being a Corvette just because I just noticed sports cars. What ended up happening was I'm cruising. This guy goes to turn in to what I thought was a turning lane, but absolutely not. This guy is coming straight for me, literally doesn't see me. Doesn't make any. Just a car merging, a sports car merging with no inclination that there was a car there, right? And
so he just straight up didn't see you.
He's coming at my front fender. By the time that he was going to make contact, it would have been my front fender and my driver door. And it was one of those weird moments where, things kind of slow down, but are also moving really fast at the same time. And you're kind of like natural, your reaction kicks in. And so he's cutting through the merging lane into me. I slam on the brakes. I lock up all four wheels, right? Boy. I crank the car to the middle of my two lanes. Didn't even look who was next to me. Didn't even look who was behind me. It was either, hey, I'm going to hit that car, or whatever's going to happen next to me. Mm-hmm. Took the chance, right? I had in my head knowing that I was ahead of traffic, but I didn't know how ahead of traffic I was. I just knew that this is the better option versus hitting this guy. And so slammed on the brake, turned the wheel, laid on my horn, and at this point all four are locked up, and I'm sliding for about, 20 feet or so. And guy gets in my lane, fishtails, gasses it, sees that I am all the smoke behind me from me locking it up, and then fishtails, straightens out, is now going probably 80 down the merging lane.
This is a 45 mile per hour road.
Oh yeah, runs over a 2x4 in the middle of the merging lane, doesn't even care, right?
Yeah.
Runs over the 2x4, and then the first turn he makes, he takes a right turn into where the liquor store parking lot is, right?
Which is not far from where he first pulled out. So it's a short trip for him.
So guy literally left the golf course, probably wasted, right? Going straight to the liquor store. But yeah, I almost completely totaled the Civic. It would have been his fault 100%. And I was like adrenaline rush, right? My legs are shaking after that because I've never locked up a car going 50 miles an hour.
I bet that was a little bit of a wet pants moment for you.
Well,
almost.
So the Civic doesn't have ABS, right?
Well, it's got drums in the back. Right?
It's got drums in the back, and I guess I've just never locked anything up that fast before, right? Like,
so it's a 99 and it doesn't have ABS.
No ABS, yeah.
Huh.
But yeah, and it was just one of those wheelless turn, slid, slowed down to maybe 5 miles an hour, and then I straightened out. Cars behind me are laying on their horns at me. I see this lady in a Forester like throwing up her hands, but I don't think she was I don't think she was throwing up at me, but maybe just the situation. Like, what the heck was that, right?
Well, yeah.
And so I'm still kind of like coming down off this adrenaline rush. My legs are shaking because I'm almost just totaled my Civic.
Well, and the insurance company, let's be real. Unless you have like the name your price or whatever, like the valuation tool, they're just going to give you what a 99 Civic is worth, not what yours in particular all fixed up and nice.
I would have just broken my leg in there in the car and then hopped out and said, "You're done,
Here,
man.
Give me a coat, break my leg."
Yeah. So, but when those situations happen to you, right? And you go, wow, nobody witnessed that. Nobody saw that. I'm going to tell this story on the podcast.
And people are just going to look like,
and it's just, it's
really?
like cool story,
are
man,
you sure
right?
You're not
just,
embellishing.
Yeah.
Totally
people get into accidents all the time, or people get into close accidents all the time, right? It doesn't really ever happen to me, but I continue going, and I get to this bridge over off of Glenwood over here. There's a bridge going over the Boise River, and I'm at this bridge, and I start hearing this horn, and I'm like, "What? Who the heck is honking?" Right?
What's going on?
I'm like, don't you know I'm stressed right now? I look out my window, and there's a guy in a truck next to me with his window down. So I roll down my window, and this guy, dude, all stoked, was like, "Great reaction, man. Great reaction." He's like, "I saw that, dude. That was crazy.
You handled that like a pro."
He's like, "You were like diagonal, dude. There's all the smoke." And he was like, "Great driving, man." And I'm like, "What?" I'm like, yes, somebody witnessed this. It was like, witnessed me from like Mad Max. It's like, I wish somebody could have seen like my reaction doing that, because it was like some like racing sim, like all my racing sim practice kicked in. But he was just like, "Dude, that was crazy." He's like, "I think that guy was hammered. He was coming from the golf course. He turned in a liquor store." And I said, "Dude, I'm just glad somebody saw this, because like I was worried that if he would have hit me, I wouldn't have had a witness." He's like, "Oh no, dude, I would have had your back." And he's just like, "Hey, keep it up, dude. Great driving. Drive safe. Like, you did the right thing." And I just never whoever gets complimented about stuff like that.
The truck guy will be at your next pool party. He's invited. Like he heard that.
It was just the weirdest thing because, like I said, that's never happened to me before. I've done something and gotten complimented for my.
Yeah, at least somebody saw. So that's nice to know you're not crazy and didn't just imagine that whole scenario, because obviously you didn't. But one other thing, and this is like driving school type stuff, but when you're in that situation, in a front-wheel drive car, you have the advantage of being able to, when in doubt, flat out, kind of like straighten yourself back out again with some throttle.
Yeah.
If you start to slide, you counter steer and you apply throttle, it'll actually get you back straight in line, as opposed to a rear-wheel drive car where you could potentially fishtail more.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, that's a possibility in the future if it ever happens to you. Hopefully it doesn't. But when you panic stopped, did you shift gears at all, or did you just immediately slam the clutch down and just leave it open?
So I was already in fourth, right?
Okay.
So clutch.
So you didn't downshift.
No, there was no time. There's literally no time to downshift.
There's no time to think. Really.
It was clutch in, brake, right? Yank, pull, slide, and then by the time I was laying off the horn, I want to say I grabbed the stick back into neutral just to make sure I wasn't going to just kill the car there, even though the clutch was in. And then I think I probably, because I was about 5 miles an hour, I think I threw it back in a second, straightened out, and then just kept driving. Okay. So it all happened like in 1 second. I mean, it was so quick.
It's light and
fast. So anyways, I got home and I was like, I need to check out my tires because that it felt pretty crazy. So
and
Glenn,
now picture, Glenn.
So you can see that this was the side of my tire sliding one way, and I kind of gummed it all up, and it was like that for about half of the tire is all slid like that. So from when I locked
melty.
And it got all nice and melted, and so anyway, it was just a really lucky situation. I'm glad I didn't wreck my car, and everything worked out.
Geez, right there. Threshold braking back in the day before ABS. Yeah, you were taught to just deal with the lockup and how to handle it. But I mean, without it, it's an exciting time because when you lock up, dude, you've essentially
baby drivered it, man. It was
like all control at that point, unless you've put yourself in that situation multiple times to know how to react. You did it without any prior experience, so you did well considering the circumstances.
But and that's where Dane was like, did you get it on dash cam? Like, I don't have a dash cam. That would have been pretty wild to see, though.
In my van, I don't have a dash cam. I should probably get it. Honestly, it's one of the best investments I've made. It saved me from so many stupid close calls from other drivers just not paying attention. And it's helpful just in case. Plus, you know what? If somebody gets bored and has a YouTube channel, people love a good dash cam YouTube channel. So there's always that option too. You just upload your footage for the day if something interesting happens.
Yeah. But so that was like the only crazy thing that's happened to me. So just be careful out there, guys. Watch out for drunk guys leaving golf courses, at 5 p.m. because you just never know what could happen, right?
That's the thing. 5 p.m. It ain't that late.
Hot day at the golf course.
When they say it's 5 o'clock somewhere, I guess that is what they meant, huh?
Yeah, well, my luck, it would have been like, if he would have hit me, it would have been like a politician or something like that.
Oh, yeah, and then
he would have been like,
cover it up.
You're going to pay for this, kid. I'm like, you hit me.
Well, you shouldn't have been there.
So, anyway, but that was it, man. So that's all I got for the weekend. So, overall, giving the Black Mirror 2 hot dog score, or Black Phone 2 hot dog score, and then... great car show. Almost lost my car, and
but you didn't.
And Dane's clearing out his storage unit. So that's all I got. That's
go watch RRR, folks. It's great fun.
Yeah. So hopefully you guys still found this fun, even though Levi's not here. Sorry, but I mean, we covered a little bit of everything.
Yeah, I think we had a good we went for almost an hour and a half too. So all right, nice work, fellas and gals. That's great. So anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and. Dave Murdering Star Wars and Brett Michelson, a great episode. Thank you, G. Thank you. Anyway, I really appreciate you all watching. Even though we didn't have Levi here, I hope we at least entertained you a good amount with our own personal stories. And obviously all the stuff that's been going on here. There's a lot of things we want to tell you about that are coming in the future. We can't quite talk about them yet, but rest assured there's always stuff going on here at the Rag Company. So as you know, make sure you're subscribed, make sure you like this video so it gets in front of more people, and we will catch you later this week over on the main Red Company channel for Q&A Thursdays, where hopefully we'll have Levi back in the studio.
Hopefully.
All right, guys, gals, take care, and we'll see you later.
See ya.
Have a good one.